lost, you say he should have won. But there are 3 or 4 Super Bowls that he won that he could have lost. But you never do that.
I know, but
lost to Seattle.
But he won them.
Okay, so he lost those.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
He was down 24-14 going to the fourth quarter against the Legion of Boom. And in the fourth quarter, Tom Brady threw for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns and won it.
But, Skip, you can't say in the Super Bowls that he lost, he should have won, without saying the ones he won, he could have lost. You can't have it just one way. He should be 8. No, he should be 8-1. No, he could have easily been 3-5. He could have easily been 2-6.
Show me one where he stunk it up. Show me one where he had a bad fourth quarter. Show me one, because you can't.
Skip, the fourth quarter is not there. 3 other quarters. What about Atlanta? What about Atlanta? They jump out 28-3, and Coach Belichick's defense doesn't give up another point.
What
about that?
Thank you for bringing that up. In the fourth quarter and overtime of that game, Brady threw for 246 yards. Think about that.
So you ain't gonna give
246 yards.
Coach Belichick's defense any credit.
Aaron Rodgers never dreamed of that kind of a performance.
So you're not gonna give Coach Belichick's defense any credit for pitching a shutout the last 30-plus minutes of the ball game.
I'm glad you brought that up also, because Tom has benefited from some very good defenses and some pretty good defenses. But let me ask you this. Has Tom Brady ever had your 2000 Ravens Ray Lewis defense? Has he ever had that?
Skip. What great
No, seriously.
Let me ask you a question. What historic quarterback has ever had the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens or the 02 Bucs? What historically great quarterback?
Or the Steel Curtain Steelers or the Doomsday Dallas defenses.
What quarterback?
Roger Staubach, you can argue he had that, and Terry Bradshaw had the Steel Curtain. They did.
Maybe, but we don't. I think when we look at great quarterbacks, basically it's a 2-man race. We're looking at Montana, Skip. We're looking at Brady, and then maybe a handful of others. But historic defenses don't go with great quarterbacks.
And thank you for bringing up Joe Montana, because you can make a case against Joe, because to me the greatest coach ever was the great Bill Walsh. God bless him. I was very close with him. He invented a system called the West Coast offense that you can argue really benefited Joe, that he was doing something and benefiting from a system that was revolutionary, that this league had never seen, that still operates, that has tentacles all over this league. Tom Brady created his own system in New England because Bill Belichick is all defense all the time. He's not an offensive coach. So Brady obviously benefited early from Charlie Weiss, and then you can argue Bill O'Brien or Josh McDaniels, but basically he invented his own system in New England.
I think when you look at Coach Belichick from a defensive perspective, he can tell Tom and he can tell the offensive coordinators, this is where I'm vulnerable. This is where I'm weak. This is what a defense is thinking in this down and distance, in this area of the field. And when I see you line up in this formation, this is what I'm thinking. So the best counter. So obviously, this is why he's so. If you look at Peyton Manning, what has he always had? Defensive-minded head coaches, because he's thinking, I need to know what are you thinking in this down and distance, in this area of the field, with 1 minute left in the ball game. What would you do to me? So Coach Belichick can parlay that to Tom Brady. Skip, but to say in 20 years, Tom Brady has had 16 top 10 defenses. Aaron Rodgers in 14 years have only had 3. Tom Brady has had 8 top 5 scoring defenses. Aaron Rodgers has had 1. And you say that doesn't make a difference?
Has his defense, Tom Brady's defense, over the 20 years in New England, 19 in New England, was it star-studded with future Hall of Famers? Help me out.
No.
Help me out.
No. Ty Law's in the Hall of Fame.
By the way, Ty Law, it took 5 times. It took 5 ballots, but he belongs. Love him. But Tom had him for the first 4 of those years in New England.
I believe Richard Seymour is going to get in, and I believe Darrelle Revis is going to get in. Now, he only had Revis, 1 year, 2 years, maybe? I think 1 year.
Okay. He also had Junior Seau at the very end of Seau's run, and he's obviously...
But Seau was already... So we're going to...
All right. Got it. So the point is that if you look at Aaron, since his 1 Super Bowl 10 years ago, he's 6-7 in the postseason. Well, that's not great. So 6-7, and by the way, Tom Brady in the postseason is 30-11, and so Aaron overall with that Super Bowl run of 4 straight as a wild card road team, that got him to 10-8 in the postseason. So Brady has 20 more playoff wins and only 3 more playoff losses. And again, I focus on Aaron Rodgers 1 and 3 in NFC championship games. And if you look at his QBR in those 4 losses, you can argue all you want about how good or bad the defense was. But he was ordinary in those 4 games. His QBR was 58 average in those 4 games, which is just barely above average. So help me out. How can you even get close to making a case that he's had a better career or is a better all-around quarterback, or that you, one game for your life, you're picking Aaron Rodgers?
Yep.
Look at, these are 1 games for his future, his legacy life, and he's 1 and 3 in those NFC championship games.
You're over there crying about Coach Belichick's defense giving up 41 points in the Super Bowl. But Aaron Rodgers was on a team that defense gave up 51. He was in a game that gave up 45 to Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers. They gave up 44 to Matt Ryan. They just gave up 37 last year. You remember you talk about how fluky Eli was? When Eli went to Lambeau Field in the cold and dropped 37 on him. In the 6 of his 8 losses, they're giving up 37 or more. In 8 of his losses, they're average giving up 36 points a game, which is worse than what the Dallas Cowboys, and everybody knows how bad the Cowboys are. So can you imagine in a playoff game, you already know they're going to give up 4 touchdowns. They're going to give up 5 tugs. You already know that going in. Tom Brady never had that to worry about, because when he did, he caught L's. He caught L's. Anytime they gave up 30-plus, they dropped that L on his head.
What do you always tell me about Dak Prescott? When they fall woefully behind, you say, well, he had the ball several times. He could have done something with it. I'd say the same thing about Aaron Rodgers.
Skip. He lost 45-51. He lost 45-51.
Yeah, Tom Brady lost 41-33 in a Super Bowl.
So he had the ball, but hold on.
Yeah, that was some first-round game against Arizona.
The ball was in his hand, right? The ball was in Tom's hand.
Yeah.
See, Skip, the thing what you fail to do is that, hold on, now he yelling and screaming at Tampa because guys jumping off sides. So if Coach Belichick don't matter, why he yelling and screaming at folks? Why he in everybody's face? Oh, because that does matter. Coaching matters. Oh, wow. Who knew coaching matters? You always try to minimize Tom when things, see, what you do is you maximize him when things go well. But what you do is you minimize.
When things go well, they've gone better than anybody's ever thought about going.
I understand that. But what you try to do is minimize Coach Belichick's role in this. When things go bad, it's Coach Belichick's fault. You won't say Tom Brady fumbled a football. You won't say that Tom Brady missed some throws early in that Philly game that could have tilted the balance. That's not what you do. All you talk about... He
threw for an all-time playoff record, 505.
He should have threw for 600.
Oh, stop.
He should have threw for 600.
By the way, that was a top 5 Eagles defense that year.
And it had Gronk wide, overthrew Gronk, and he dropped the tub. What about that tub he dropped? I bet Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have dropped it.
Yeah.
We saw Dak. We saw Dak catch it. We saw the Philly.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, who is 6-7 in the playoffs since that long ago Super Bowl, if you look at his 6 wins, how lucky were a bunch of his wins? He got to play Joe Webb, a receiver, starting at quarterback. He got to play Kirk Cousins when he was still in Washington. He was just a basket case, especially in big games. And then how about the Dez game? What a great escape that was for Aaron Rodgers, because the referee at the goal line is throwing his arms up.
It wasn't
It's 6 because Dez caught it and scored with it. He ran with it and slammed it on the goal line. You had, what a great escape. How lucky were you that Odell Beckham took his receivers to South Beach to hang out on a yacht to get ready for a game up on the frozen tundra, a playoff game?
How's that Aaron Rodgers fault?
Because they come up and Odell drops 2 in the first quarter and they're done psychologically.
Skip.
Okay, how lucky is that?
You see what you did? Now you blame Aaron Rodgers for something somebody else done, just like you blame the Lakers for the Clippers not wanting to be there or them gagging their opportunity. You can't blame the opposing team.
How lucky was Aaron Rodgers at Jerry World against a rookie named Dak Prescott when it took 2 intergalactic field goals by Mason Crossbar of